The last 4 years have been pretty crazy in general when it comes to the market. People with a few hundreds, a few $1,000s to people with over $1 million.
What is it exactly?
Sarwa basically is a digital-first platform to help everyone to start investing and grow their wealth.
Most people think, I shouldn't invest, I'll lose all my money.
Basically, there's scams. There's always been scams in the world. This shouldn't block you from starting something that can change your life.
Hello 100x listeners. In today's episode, we're joined with Roben Harb, Chief Product Officer at Sarwa, a pioneering financial platform. With a wealth of experience, he leads Sarwa's strategy and product initiatives. As we delve into Sarwa's founding story, business challenges, and its impact in Abu Dhabi, Roben will provide unique insights into the financial industry. Stay tuned to learn more about Sarwa's innovative business model and its commitment to transparency and simplicity, and a glimpse into the future of financial technology. Roben, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, Sarwa, give me a 30-second version of Sarwa. What is it exactly?
So Sarwa basically is a digital-first platform to help everyone to start investing and grow their wealth.
Okay, so basically, and you're a chief product officer at the company. When you say Sarwa, it's a digital platform, are you saying it's an app?
Correct. So it's an app and a web platform. And basically you can do everything solely through the app or the web, basically. So it's actually very simple. You can kind of download the app, go to the website, you register, and then within 2-3 minutes, you can do the onboarding and request your account to be open. Your account can be open within 10 minutes, and then you can basically start investing without needing for any kind of human interactions.
Interesting. And since this is a financial platform, and I know your background, Robin, was in engineering. You did mechanical engineering. What was that switch to finance? How did you get into Sarwa?
Yeah, so basically, I studied mechanical engineering with a minor in finance. And after that, I started my career actually in consulting in the region. And over there, I kind of felt the pain point that Sarwa was trying to solve. Basically, I had just started my career, and I felt that in the region, there was kind of a lack of easily accessible platforms to start investing compared to kind of other countries.
And why is that? Why is there a lack?
Basically, there was kind of a gap in the market. I think here in the region, people have been more accustomed to kind of traditional investments in real estate or in land. And there was kind of traditional investing players here that were tailoring a bit more to the high net worth individuals. But basically, I think there was a gap here to capture in the region. And I think that's how basically Sarwa came.
High net worth individuals, you mean the investing in the region was focused on people who had more money, not just on everyone?
Exactly.
And you guys are doing it for everyone?
100%.
Okay, interesting. And from what you know, Robin, what's the founding story behind Sarwa?
Yeah, so basically Sarwa was founded by 3 Lebanese co-founders, Mark, Nadine, and Jad. And basically Mark and Jad were kind of friends who were living in Canada at the time. And they were kind of exploring gaps in the region in the fintech space and where it was kind of basically lagging maybe across other countries. And this is how they kind of felt that there was this lack of a player here that was digital first, easy and simple, tailoring to the mass affluent market, and basically try to capture this opportunity. They were one of the first cohorts in Dubai, JFC, and that's how they kind of started building Sarwa.
Interesting. And when it comes to Sarwa as a platform, is there a specific mission you guys are aiming for?
I think our mission is really to make investing accessible and simple to basically kind of everyone and help them grow their wealth.
Okay, and why is the UAE? Why not other countries? Why do you focus on the UAE? Because you said the region, and I think Sarwa was based on the UAE, and maybe you have plans to scale, but why did you start here?
Correct. I think the UAE was basically, at the time that Sarwa started, one of the best market to kind of enter and had created kind of the environments for startup to start being built and flourishing. And was also a kind of a good market with the target users of mass to mass affluent who were kind of looking for investment platforms. And I think since then, the region has grown a lot in terms of kind of enabling startups, especially fintechs, to grow. But UAE has grown since then, other countries also, but I think it was at the time kind of the best place to start this.
Yeah, so you spotted an opportunity and you leveraged it here in the country.
Exactly. Well, the co-founders did, basically, yeah.
And what are the obstacles? Did you face any challenges with Sarwa? What are the things that are going on that you guys are having to shift through?
Yeah, I think I joined Sarwa 4 years ago, right before COVID started, actually, like 2 months in, COVID had started. And I think one of the biggest challenges has actually been the environment surrounding us and surrounding investing, and how we had basically to adapt through our product and for our user, basically. Kind of there was a COVID pandemic. Then there's been kind of a rush of retail investing through meme stock frenzy, which kind of...
What's retail investing?
Kind of your normal user who wants to trade and buy stocks, right? So there's been kind of this craze that was driven by the meme stock period. There's crypto, which came into play and kind of had a super high bull run and was a way to make a lot of money quickly at that time. And since then, obviously, the market kind of corrected itself. Interest rates went up, which was a new environment. So kind of all of those different environments since I joined Sarwa kind of were a challenge that we had to adapt to. Basically, the way we adapted was we kind of expanded our product offering. So when Sarwa first started, we were purely a robo-advisor platform, which means that we only had one product where we would manage our users' money into diversified portfolios.
When you say diversified portfolios, you're talking about S&P 500?
Exactly, globally diversified. So kind of exposed to the US market, developed market, emerging markets, bonds, real estate.
So I would just sign up on the app. Let's talk about when Sarwa first started.
Yes.
You just sign up on the app.
Exactly.
You're saying robo-advisor. That means I just get into the app and I put in the money and I choose the stocks I want to invest in or the portfolios, or is it chosen for me?
Exactly. So when I first started, we had the Sarwa Invest. That's what the product is called now, which is this robo-advisor product where basically you onboard, you kind of do a survey that helps us understand your financial situation, your goals, your behaviors and reaction to certain situations. And we would then recommend a portfolio for you based on the risk profile that we've assessed. And once you have this recommended portfolio, which is globally diversified across, as I mentioned, the different markets in the world, then you just fund your account and we would manage your money for you into those diversified portfolios. So that's kind of the first product Sarwa started in. And it was very kind of passive, long-term approach to investing, which kind of is the easiest for also your novice investor who doesn't know what to do, right? There's very little that they need to do. And also kind of on the long term has shown to get kind of on average the best return, right? It's very difficult to beat the market. And that's kind of what we started with. And then obviously we realized and we learned that as we wanted to target more users, like it's great to have this product and this product is good, but some people want to do it themselves, right? So that's where kind of also it came with the retail investor, the meme stock frenzy. Not that we think that's the way to go, but basically people want to do it. People want to buy stocks that they believe in. They want to buy companies that they believe in. And we wanted to take this approach, or we wanted to tailor it to everyone, right? If you want your money to be managed for you, you believe in the long term, that's great. If you want to go and buy stock yourselves and choose, that's also something we wanted to offer. So that's how we kind of adapted to the user needs and demands to kind of address a wider audience. And that's when we launched our second product at the time, which was Sarwa Trade, where people can buy and sell kind of US-listed stocks themselves.
When did the Sarwa Trade come in?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So the first 2 years was the Sarwa Invest.
Correct.
Which is, I do a survey and you recommend a certain portfolio to invest in. 2 years later, I have the ability to do it myself.
Exactly.
Okay.
And since then...
And what was the challenge there for Sarwa?
Yeah, so I think the challenge there is we kind of went from a one product company to a multi-product company. So we kind of started tailoring to a wider audience, but also kind of different personas which have different needs. So kind of the needs of the traders, the people who want to trade themselves, is very different than the need that want to passively invest, right? So the person who passively invests, we typically tell them kind of invest once a month, right? When your salary comes in, to do your monthly investment of whatever you've been able to save. Check your app not that often. You shouldn't look at daily fluctuations because it's kind of a long-term investment. When you go to kind of trading, it's kind of a much more daily usage of the product, weekly usage where people are much more active. They need to kind of look into their positions much more often, take much more decisions. So kind of switching from this one kind of product to a multi-product with a different kind of user base and user persona was something we kind of had to adapt in when it comes to especially the product side of things.
Robin, most people think investing is a scam. Most people think I shouldn't invest, I'll lose all my money, especially with what's going on these days. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting view. I think basically there's scams. There's always been scams in the world, right? There's always people who are trying to scam people. But I think at the end of the day, this shouldn't block you from starting something that can change your life and will be beneficial for you in the long term. So I think this is why it's important for people to kind of do a proper due diligence, right? It's important to go and use platforms that you trust, that people can trust, that are very well regulated in the countries they're in, to make sure that basically they're using a product that sells them what they say, right? So I think you should look for someone who's well regulated, someone who's very transparent about what they offer and what they do, someone who's been trusted and established brand. Because again, you shouldn't kind of avoid something positive because of kind of the outliers or the people who are trying to kind of scam you, basically.
Yeah. And walk me through your day as a chief product officer. What exactly does your job entail at Sarwa?
Kind of there's different phases and different things that you do kind of in product. I think basically there's a big part of it which is kind of figuring out what you want to do and what you want to build next, right? Especially in a startup, there's always so many things that you want to do. The users want different things. A big part of it is figuring out, okay, what are the top priorities that you need to build for the users, for the business, and what you need to do there. And then a big part is kind of building those products, right? And to build a product actually kind of, and the product role is a very central role. So you work with a lot of different people within the company. So you work with kind of the designers to kind of design the product that you want to build, then with the engineers to kind of build this product, then test this product, with marketing to kind of market the product once you go live, you announce it, the new features with your users, and with also kind of the customer support and our wealth staff to make sure that they understand what you're building so that they can serve the customers who reach out and asking about questions about it. So my day-to-day is kind of, again, working with all of those different people to make sure that we get products delivered and shipped to the user to improve their experience.
So when you say product, you're talking about the app, the interface, the platform. How do you test if something's working? Because you're making a lot of changes and you're seeing how people react. So how do you test quickly? You see, okay, this feature, I'm adding it. I made a decision on it as a chief product officer, it works. This doesn't work. How do you make these decisions?
Perfect. Yeah. So basically, once you launch a feature, again, sometimes it's already been a feature that's been requested by your user, right? So they come with you, they're like,
you listen to whatever a user says something, you guys take into account and you implement that.
Exactly. So there's a lot of feedback that we gather from our users, from surveys that we do, from reaching out to our customer support, from talking to people who use the app in general, right? So kind of, it's nice to work on a product that actually a lot of my friends use. They come to me and they give feedback. So there's kind of feedback that's being gathered, and then there's prioritization. And once you ship the product and it's there, you kind of measure the satisfaction with this product and the adoption on this product based on what it is. So basically, how many of the users are using kind of this specific feature or using this specific product? How many keep on using it and retaining it? So that's kind of how we measure if this new feature of this new product was kind of a successful one.
It's very important to listen to what your customers are saying, what they're complaining. You said your friends, when they're using the app, they're telling you, oh, we don't like this, we don't like that, it gets stuck or whatever. So it's very important to listen, because when you listen, you make the right changes, right?
Definitely. I think like one of the main role as product is you need to listen to your customers and figure out what are their pain points, what do they want, what do they need. There's also sometimes where the customer doesn't know what they need, and you kind of need to know and be at the kind of forefront of innovation and the pain points that they're facing to kind of add those things, right? But a lot of the times, the best source of kind of what you need to do next is from listening to your customers.
Exactly. And from your 4 years, what's your most rewarding moment at Sarwa? What did you feel like you were happiest the most? You got a great outcome. When was that? Or what was it?
Yeah, I think kind of working in product, one of the biggest achievement or satisfaction comes honestly when you do a big product release, right? Like the days when we do the big announcement, the big releases are kind of always big milestones when you work in product. And the bigger satisfaction comes from launching something that you're kind of proud of, that your users are happy with, that impact the business as well. In a very like high way. And for me, this was actually kind of launching Sarwa Trade. So kind of when we went from this passive only approach to investing to offering this wider range of products and launching that, this for me was kind of a very proud achievement because it's been going very well. Our users are very happy with it, thankfully. And yeah, so that's
so people were happy with Sarwa Trade. Can you tell us more about the success stories of what you've seen, people who weren't investing and they started investing in Sarwa, or was their first platform? What are some of those? What do those look like?
Yeah, I think for me, basically, one thing I mentioned about kind of working for Sarwa and what I love about working for Sarwa, it's a product that's actually very easy to sell to your friends, to your family, because then it's in kind of their best interest to use this product, right? They're growing their money, they're growing their wealth. So it's not like kind of maybe you work at a luxury shoe brand or something, like you're selling a great product, but at the end of the day, they kind of end up spending money maybe on a new pair of shoe or in something that doesn't really necessarily help them in the long term, right? So that's what I love about Sarwa. It's I've been easily kind of able to tell my family and my friends to use it. So kind of all of these people around my surroundings started using it. And yeah, well, the success stories without going into kind of specific like goals, but like just general growth of wealth of my friends who are happy with this platform when they tell me, oh, I'm up 10%, I'm making so much money, or of people who wanted to save to kind of go do their MBA at some point and needed to have some money to spend during that time. Kind of there's a lot there around my surrounding, and I think that's kind of those stories that are great.
Do most people, when they invest, do they lose money or make money?
So I think on the long term, if you go in the passive way, you make money, right? So that's the thing. It's very important to keep the time perspective in mind when you're thinking about investing and be patient, right? Again, the last 4 years have been pretty crazy in general when it comes to the market. But if you take a step back and you look at it on the long term, you need to kind of avoid those noise that happen on a yearly basis and look at the longer term picture. And that's where you can see that investing on the long term, you're going to end up making money if you're diligent. And that's where a lot of the Sarwa education comes into play, where we need to educate our users, like, don't react in the short term, right? Think longer term. Like the market will go up, will go down, but if you stick the course, if you do kind of monthly contributions to your investing, then in the long term, you'll make money. So that's kind of on the investing long-term passive side. On the trading, it really depends on what kind of trading you're doing. But again, if you kind of stick to those long-term diversification beliefs, then you end up making money.
Are most people into the long-term diversification, or where do you see that percentage?
I think you see a bit of both. I think and even some people use both products, right? Some people are kind of, okay, I'm going to put some money in the long term in the passive approach, and I'm going to also go and buy a few stocks myself, trade, take some bets that I want to take in some companies I believe in, to try to make maybe higher returns, basically.
Are you a long-term investor yourself?
Yes, definitely. I use all of Sarwa's product, to be honest, but the majority of my investing for me goes the long term. I do take some small bets in some companies I like that I believe in, but I really do what we preach, basically.
Okay, and Robin, since Sarwa was headquartered in Abu Dhabi, what were the opportunities and challenges you guys faced within the city?
Yeah, so I think being based in Abu Dhabi, one of the things that has really helped us is actually working with a great regulator. So I think, especially when you're in the fintech space, we talked a lot about trust, right? But it's important to also help startups be able to innovate. And I think working with the regulator here in Abu Dhabi, they've really managed a great balance between helping startups grow and innovate and move at a fast pace while adapting, while still being able to kind of build the trust that the regulators need to bring and the right guidelines and measures for us.
And what tools or resources that benefited you here in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, so Sarwa was actually part of the first cohort of Hub 71.
Okay.
Right. And we basically, Abu Dhabi really helped us with their incentive packages over there when we joined, basically supporting on housing, on visas, on a workspace. So all of those benefits really helped Sarwa manage kind of their cost at the earlier stage and really helped Sarwa basically grow.
So you think that the main driver was the benefits you got from Abu Dhabi through Hub 71 into the growth of Sarwa?
So I think those were one of the big benefits with kind of obviously all of the investors that has invested in Sarwa and helped us grow, as well as honestly just the regulatory environment that was there and really helped us kind of expand our product line. Actually, that's one of the things that I mentioned, right? Working with the regulators and for them being flexible to us to expand into our product suite has really helped Sarwa grow into the company that it is.
And made things much easier for you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's very important, especially as a fintech product, you're going to need easier regulations. You're going to need that support in order for you to launch, or you'll be stuck between policies, different laws.
Exactly. It's all about the right balance from the regulators to make sure that the startup has the speed and the leeway to kind of launch those new things, while still obviously following important guidelines that need to be there on the finance and fintech space.
And do you believe that what Sarwa's services that you guys are offering, do you believe that this kind of model needs education? Do you need to educate the market? Do you need to have proper marketing channels in order for you to do that? And if you guys are doing that, how are you executing it?
I think education has definitely been a big part of Sarwa and Sarwa's journey, right? I think we do a lot of education that we use through blogs, through webinars that we have, through in-person events that we need to get, because I think there was still kind of a gap in financial knowledge that needed to be bridged, especially at the earlier stage that's now improving in the region as, again, Sarwa, other players are there, and I think that the region is getting a bit more kind of financially savvy. But it's been a big part of it, and kind of having in-person events, webinars, and educating, again, as you mentioned, that like not all investing is a scam. Investing is important. You need to have this long-term mindset also to investing was a big part of Sarwa's customer acquisition and marketing strategy, as well as kind of educating our users.
What was your most important marketing strategy, or the most effective one, when it came to growing your user base?
I think we've had kind of different strategies through time. I think kind of, again, a lot of education was a big part of it. Also, referral programs has been a big part of it.
People referring their friends to go on
People
the
referring
platform.
their friends through either an incentivized referral program that we have or through just word of mouth. I think at the end of the day, as you mentioned, it's very important to trust the platform, and kind of hearing from your friends who are using it is a very easy way to kind of, again, gain trust. And the more you grow, the more people use it, the more the brand is there. So kind of those two avenues, I think, has been the best.
And Sarwa follows a hybrid model. You're talking about investing. I invest on my own. And at the same time, you have people, humans, that are even helping you throughout the process, right?
Correct.
How does that work?
Yeah, so basically it's true that I said that you can do all of the onboarding all digitally without any human interaction, but doesn't mean that you cannot have a human interaction if you want to, right? I think when Sarwa again came to the region, it was important for us to adapt to the region at the end of the day and tailor to a wider audience, right? From 20 to 22, early 20s to even mid 40s, right? And different people have different kind of needs, right? And some people, for them, the human touch is still very important. Being able to have a voice behind who's working at Sarwa, being able to talk to an advisor, to ask them question, and so on, or to our customer support staff is still very important. So that's why we kind of went with this hybrid model. And yeah, so basically, if you want to talk to someone, there's always someone there to kind of answer your questions, comfort you if you need comforting around like what you need to do, help you plan through your investments, and kind of weather the downside and know what to do basically in those situations.
And if we're going to just get into Sarwa's services, other than the ones you mentioned, are there any specific thing you want to elaborate on? Are there any specific services that will be helpful to the average investor?
Yeah, so I think one of the products we haven't mentioned, also as part of Sarwa, is kind of one of actually our latest product, which is Sarwa Save. And that's kind of a save-like account that gives you a guaranteed return basically on your money. So we're giving 3%. So through our banking partners and relationships, we're able to offer a 3% return on your cash basically in your Sarwa Save account. And this was kind of, again, for us to adapt to the changing environments, right? As interest rate went up in the last year, a lot of people wanted to take advantage of those this current market conditions and want to get kind of a guaranteed return on their cash, while maybe they want to wait for a better like perspective on the market in their eyes, right? So that's kind of one of the latest product that we've added. And it's also a good way for people to kind of keep their emergency cash in, right? So when it goes to investing, obviously you need to invest as much as you can, but it's also very important to keep some emergency cash in case you need it that's not invested. And that you can do it in a high interest savings account, basically, that's Sarwa.
Are most people going through that safe route, or are they investing in a more risky way? What are you guys seeing?
So I think there's, again, it's really a mix of everything. There's people who use all three products, right? Basically, Sarwa Save, they keep their emergency cash. Sarwa Invest, their long-term. Sarwa Trade Invest for their like stock picking. Some people only use Sarwa Trade. They want to do it all themselves. Some people right now only use Sarwa Save. They just want to get kind of a guaranteed return, maybe while they wait for a better time, maybe in their lives, to kind of go into the market and take a bit more risk. So it's really a mix of all products. And that's what Sarwa has been trying to kind of build through the years, right? It's kind of this one-stop shop platform that whatever you want to do based on your personal situation, on how you want to invest and what you want to invest in, you have them accessible, right? And if your situation changes, you want to take more risk, you can move it from save to invest. If you want to stop investing yourselves in some stocks, you want to go passive and have Sarwa manage it for you, you can move it to invest, and vice versa, basically.
You know, I read that companies use the color blue to make their product look safe and trustworthy, or they use green to make it look sustainable. All these colors play a role in psychology. As a chief product officer, when you think about the product, do you think about specific things you want Sarwa to look like in order to have more trust or to get more users?
Definitely. I think like one of Sarwa's main objective that's reflected in its product is to keep things simple, right? To be as simple as possible for everyone to not be afraid of investing, to have a simple user experience and not be worried about taking this step. So whenever we go into kind of building any kind of product, designing it, we really try to make it as easy as possible for the users to know what they're doing, keep the jargon and the copyright kind of really simple. Like we invest time in making sure that things are very clear for the users to understand.
Simple copy,
yeah. Not using complex words that people might get confused with. And also, if there's things that need to be explained, making sure that they're explained.
That's the problem, Robin. Most people, when they go into investing platforms, it's so complicated. I can't understand the jargon that's being used. So I need to make things simple. It's like you're talking to a friend, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think like, sometimes using jargon is just there to complicate things. You don't need this jargon, right? You can use very kind of simple words that anyone can understand to know what they're doing. And even when we're doing the product and we're building the product, we kind of make sure to test with people with different knowledges of the market, either experience or that really have very limited knowledge, to make sure that they understand what we've built and it's simple for them to use.
And when you're hiring people within the business, especially you're working with designers, people, or even developers working within the product itself, how do you get these? How do you find this talent? And when you take that talent, how do you educate it in the financial sector, which is very different, maybe from previous experiences? So how do you find this talent? How do you educate them?
I guess finding talent is obviously something that's very important for kind of any startup in the region, and access to talent is something that's key. I think the region has done also a good job at becoming more attractive for people with knowledge and skills to come and live here, right? I think the UAE has really grown as a international hub to attract top talent across the world. And that's great to see, to be honest. And it really makes the lives of startup easier in that sense. So kind of now being a hub, it gets easier to kind of attract talent from around the globe and bring them here to kind of build your product. And then when it comes to kind of upskilling your people within the financial knowledge, either they have it with them before joining Sarwa, or it's kind of in the day-to-day as you're building the product, as you listen to the different events that we have and you attend those events, those people start learning these things.
What do you usually do at the events?
So at the events, basically, we have different kind of events where we sometimes invite different people from different industries. Right now we have, I believe, an event where we're inviting someone from BlackRock. And basically we walk them.
BlackRock is basically, for our viewers, is an investment firm, right? It's one of the biggest,
exactly, in the world, asset manager in the world.
Okay.
So basically we go and we walk them through what Sarwa is, what investing is, what are the principles we believe you should follow, the guidelines that we have, and basically we answer any questions that people may have.
Okay, what kind of questions do you get? Tell me the most common question you guys get when it comes to the business.
Yeah, I guess one common question is like, can I lose money? I guess I think that's one of the common questions that we get, and I think it's important to know, again, that yes, in the short term you can lose money, but again, educate them across the longer term, because I think some people are just afraid of losing money, right? But at some point, like, you need to take some risk, you need to make the money work for you and to be able to make your money grow and be willing to take some level of risk to do that.
Robin, there's a lot of investment platforms. What sets Sarwa apart? What's your USP?
Yeah. So I think one thing that you mentioned a lot is simplicity, right? We want to make it sure that it's very simple, it's very easy to use. Other things that set us apart is around being, again, this kind of one-stop shop platform where we have all of those different kind of investing based on your need. And I would say the other thing is really also kind of localization to the region that we try to do, right? We have a local customer support team, local advisor, right? Being localized and being able to tailor our services to the region is very important. And I think the fourth one is really the trust, right? So I think in fintech, kind of the trust that we've been able to establish in the region, being regulated by FSRA and the FSA, are really key differentiators, I think, for Sarwa.
And when it comes to innovation, okay, because every company like that needs to innovate at one point. How do you innovate? What are things that you guys worked on that also contributes to that?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to innovation at Sarwa, I think there's one part of it which is innovation in terms of kind of financial investing, right? And where, for example, a good example on how we innovated there is obviously adding the product. But one thing that I didn't mention was when there was a crypto kind of asset class which was coming and was very demanded. At the time, we were only kind of a robo-advisor platform. We're actually, I believe, the first robo-advisor globally, which came and offered an option for our users to allocate a part of their portfolios to crypto exposure through a fund. So basically, we saw the need and the demand in the user of the region of this new kind of asset class, which was Bitcoin and crypto in general.
When was this?
This was, I believe, 2.5 years ago.
Okay. When the crypto craze was out there?
Crypto craze had started to come. Like, we had more users who were like, okay, how can I gain exposure to crypto? Should I have crypto in my portfolios? And again, obviously, crypto is a relatively new kind of asset class. But again, when we listen to our customers, we wanted to be innovative. So we kind of launched this opt-in option for our user, right? Someone who wants to get exposure to this asset class in their portfolios can do it. And we're able to allow it with kind of this fund at the time. And obviously now recently, there's also been the Bitcoin ETFs, which have been approved. So going into that direction even more to kind of offer this into our portfolios. So that's kind of how we stay innovative at the kind of financial asset class. Then how do we stay innovative in terms of kind of the user experience and the platform is we try to work a lot with other partners in the region, right? Kind of open banking players, infrastructure players that can help us also build a better experience for our users through their services and make sure we keep on innovating on that side, as well as obviously trying to add new features, new products that we can build and do ourselves.
And when you go and work with these different players, these partners, how do you convince them that Sarwa is worth it? It's worth to partner with us. It's worth. What's your main selling point when it comes to that?
Well, I mean, I think it depends. It's mostly been us using them. So they've been trying to sell themselves for us. Kind of the players that we've used are kind of selling us a service that can make the user experience on our platform for our user more seamless. So for example, what we've added is user can link their bank account on Sarwa and fund without having to kind of leave the Sarwa app versus having to go to their bank account, add the beneficiary and fund. So that's kind of, for example, one way where we integrated with a local player to make that experience a bit more seamless for the users.
And what's the minimum investment required if someone wants to invest today?
Yeah, so when it goes to our invest product, it's $500, right? So we try to make it accessible to everyone. And trade, even less than that. You can start with $5, $10. So yeah, it's really, you can start it as small as you want almost.
Okay, so $5, $10, have you got investments like that?
Sometimes people want to try your platform out, right? They don't want to put a few $1,000s on their first try. They just go $10, try it, test how it works to trade, and then go from there. But honestly, I think we tailor really from the mass to the mass affluent to even early high net worth individuals almost. So from people with a few hundreds, a few $1,000s to people with over $1 million, basically.
Now, from a business standpoint, you mentioned you guys were simple. You have the localization working for you. What do you think will set you apart from all the competition? Not just basically in the region, even globally. You know, there are many investment platforms at a global level who also try to leverage people's attention, let them become a user. How can I today say no to them and yes to Sarwa?
Yeah, I think it comes back a bit to kind of what our value propositions are. Really, we try to make it things as simple as possible. We want someone who doesn't want to be overcomplicated, who wants a simple user experience and is willing to use Sarwa, trust Sarwa to use that platform, basically.
And personally, you, Robin, what do you think are the sacrifices you made here in your journey when it comes to working for Sarwa?
I mean, I wouldn't call them necessarily sacrifices. I think kind of to grow and reach those levels, I think you need to kind of be lucky, right? You need to take opportunities when they come, and you need to kind of work hard, obviously. So I think when it comes to being lucky, honestly, for me, joining Sarwa is kind of an opportunity that came at the right time, right? That's what being lucky means in those kind of things, is kind of being at the right time with the right opportunity that comes into place. So this opportunity coming and me being at the right time in my career, them having a role that could fit what I wanted was there. And then basically I think I took the risk to jump on that opportunity, right? So basically here you can talk maybe about a trade-off or a sacrifice, right? But I think it's kind of a risk that you need to take where you're willing to sacrifice maybe kind of on a more traditional, guaranteed career path and career growth to joining something a bit more risky, more earlier stage with maybe less guarantee but more potential, right? So I think that's kind of a risk/trade-off that you have to do. And then I think everything needs kind of hard work. When you go there to make the best out of this opportunity, you need to work hard and make sure that it succeeds, basically.
Do you regret leaving a consulting job to join a startup?
No, thankfully I don't. I think I'm really happy about the decision I made. I think consulting is a great career. I think it was a great experience. I'm extremely happy I did it. And I'm extremely happy that I made the move. For me personally, I think, because I'm very happy working at Sarwa, I'm very proud of what we've been able to do and achieve. So I'm personally obviously happy with the move I did, but very happy also having started my career off in consulting.
You were happy with the move you did, going from a safe job to a more risky one. How about other people, your family? Were they disappointed?
No, I think obviously parents sometimes are a bit more risk averse. I think there's a lot of mindset into you're in a great place, why switch, right? And at the end of the day, also everything's are kind of calculated risk, right? To some extent, I think consulting is never going anywhere to some point. I think it's there to stay, and it's been there for a long time. So I think for me, it was kind of something that I wanted to try out, something that I want to experience. And again, I think I was also lucky to some extent. Not all risks pays off. Thankfully for me so far, it's been paying off and I'm happy about it. But yeah, I think you need to basically manage what people want. But obviously I've always been also supported with the decision I end up making. So yeah.
What do you think were the beliefs or habits that got you into this place of success? What do you think the most important ones? Maybe some of them you're not doing them now, you're embodying some, but others that you aim to do.
I think it really depends on the person, what are good habits, what can be successful habits for a person. Even from a person from one place in their career to another place, I think it can change. At the end of the day, I think when it comes to habits, I think it's kind of making sure that you manage your time well, you allocate the time to what you need to do to make sure you're able to perform, right? I think you need to understand what brings the best out of you and make sure that you make habits that get you to be able to perform at your peak. Let it be for me, for example, doing sports, right? For me, doing sports is very important to get myself to be able to perform, work hard, and enjoy my working days. So making sure that you have those in your routine, in your daily life, I think is important.
And do you believe that having these sort of beliefs can empower you to go further? Or do you believe that at this point, you're going to need a different set of beliefs? Do you believe that there's something you would still need to go to the next level in your career?
Everyone is always on a path of constant improvement. I think you always need to improve. And I think you need to put yourself in situations where you're challenging yourself, where you're sometimes maybe outside of your comfort zone, where you're doing new things. There's always new learning opportunities. And when you work at a startup, at the end, there's always new challenges. It's kind of a fast-paced environment where you can grow a lot within 1 year. So I think obviously, I think they still have a lot of room to grow in my career. I think being in a place where you're feeling that you're in that constant growth path and there's always new challenges, new learnings is there. But definitely, I think there's still a lot more I would like to kind of achieve in my career.
And you mentioned that you studied engineering. Do you think engineering helped you think differently when it comes into finance?
Honestly, I think what you end up studying is great, but there's no one right thing to study. There's no wrong thing to study. I think at the end, it's kind of what you end up learning through your studies, through your career, who you surround yourself with, that kind of shapes you and helps you kind of achieve what you need to do. Engineers have a way of thinking, maybe that's different, but I don't think there's kind of any difference or any disadvantage in studying anything else or advantages in studying engineering.
What do you think holds you back, Robin? Does anything hold you back and you feel like you want to go forward, but you can't?
No, not really, honestly. I think right now, I think it's going in the right direction, I think, and hopefully it will keep doing so.
Do you believe that there's certain advice that you see a lot of people not following and you think they should follow when it comes to joining a startup, when it comes to not even getting into product, but getting into any of the executive roles? What advice do you think people should hear when it comes to working these places?
I think, again, I really think there's no one right formula for anyone. I think you need to understand yourself and what you want to achieve and what you want to do, and see what's the right fit for you and what you want to do. If you're someone who really wants to join a startup and have that experience, the advice would be, make sure you're in a situation where you can find the right opportunity, right? And be willing. It's kind of to what I mentioned before. I think if you really want this, then make sure you get lucky, but create your own luck, right? Put yourself in environments where you're surrounded by people that can give you the right opportunities, that can either come up with the right idea if you want to do your own startup or not join a startup, and making sure you have kind of maximize your odds to get lucky and find this opportunity for you. And then again, be willing to take that risk, right? It might be uncomfortable. I think any change is uncomfortable. People in general dislike change. You don't like moving outside of your comfort zone and taking risks. But if it's something that you want to do, I think that's kind of what you need to be willing to do to take that. And at the end of the day, corporate jobs are also always here, and they're here to stay. So if you want to go experiment, experience, but again, do what's best in your current situation, in your life, whatever you need to do, right? To each their own kind of financial situation, financial responsibilities, and things like that they need to evaluate those things.
And startups are hard. Startups are very hard. A lot of time is given, lots of effort, lots of work. It's much easier to work in a corporate job. How do you manage that work-life balance right now?
Yeah, I mean, corporate jobs are also a lot of work, especially in consulting. So I think I've been used to it, working hard. I think what I would say is, I think one thing that we do well at Sarwa in terms of startup, there's always work to do, right? At a startup, there's always something you can allocate your time to. But one thing that we do well is kind of avoid inefficiencies within your day-to-day work. So we try to avoid kind of too many alignment meetings, too many meetings where nothing comes out of it, where you waste a lot of people's time. So kind of being efficient in the way you operate, especially in a startup when you're a small team still, you have more flexibility and control over that. That's important to kind of make sure you're efficient to get a better work-life balance. And then I think it goes around, again, managing your calendar and agenda, right? Making sure that you book time for when you need to focus, right? So if you need to spend some time focusing, you book time for you to focus. If you need to have kind of some meetings, you book time for them. If you want to do your sport, maybe you book time for it in your calendar, and make sure you kind of follow those kind of time management.
Time blocking.
Exactly, that you set yourself.
Yeah, I read that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they do time blocking. They specify specific time on their calendar to do every certain activity.
Definitely. I think once you reach that level, they also have people probably helping them manage those calendars. But yeah, definitely. I think it's very important to kind of, when you're doing so many things, and there's always things to do, to make sure that you allocate the right time to things.
And what's the vision for Sarwa look like?
Yeah, I think Sarwa's vision is basically to become kind of one of the best digital platforms in the region, right? So really growing in the UAE and in the region, as well as growing the offerings that we're giving to our customers, to make sure, as I mentioned, we keep listening to what they want, what they need, making sure that if they want to invest in different asset class, different types of investing, we keep on catering to a larger audience, as well as for an individual audience to the different types of investment maybe they want to have in their kind of journey to growing their wealth.
And any upcoming projects you guys are working on that are different?
So we have hopefully some cool things coming up soon. Not to mention what they are, but hopefully we'll be announcing some things this year that will be exciting for our users.
Why are they top secret now?
No, I think it's just that like we're kind of finalizing things still, and And again, yeah, we want to keep it maybe as a surprise for our users.
And how are you planning to scale the business? Is there a specific roadmap you guys are taking to scale it?
I think again, yeah, we want to basically scale our services and our products, and we still want to grow. I think we still have room to grow in the region. There's still kind of a lot of people that haven't started investing that are in the journey to start investing. So there's still a lot of untapped market in the region that we're trying to grow into.
From a product perspective, any specific ways that will help you expand and tap into the people that you guys have still not acquired?
Yeah, I think again, expanding our products, localizing, coming up with new content, and obviously making sure you have a product that's scalable, basically to grow into those countries.
And from what you saw, Robin, what are the different misconceptions when it comes to investing? What do you think most people think about investing, and with your product Sarwa Education and what you guys are doing are changing that misconception?
I think that investing is difficult, right? Investing doesn't have to be difficult. Again, I think there's a lot of jargon out there. It can be difficult. Obviously, beating the market is very difficult, but investing in general and growing your wealth isn't. And it's thanks to, again, new innovations, new digital players, like access to more knowledge, more transparency. I think investing has actually been made very easy. And that's what Sarwa obviously has tried to do. And exactly, like just starting is the easiest thing. And yeah, I think that's it.
And how do people get to know more about Sarwa? Look at the updates, look what Sarwa is doing. What's the easiest way?
I think, yeah, go create an account, register. You'll start receiving email content from us. Follow us on all of social platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you'll be able to stay up to date with basically all the latest that Sarwa has to offer.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you for coming.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for watching us. Feel free to share your feedback and connect on our platforms. If you know someone with an inspiring story, email us at 100x.abudhabi@gmail.com. Stay tuned for more uplifting business tales.